you spank the pikin, so his head will knock. In
Mhm.
European culture, they use storytelling to make children behave. Not that Europeans will spank their children, or old Europeans will spank, but like first of all, storytelling was first. So a lot of that story tales were to scare the kids to do the right thing. Which is
Okay.
why, like, this, I think, is why the story is carried further than us. That and colonization, because when religion came to us, um, okay, so sir, I'll have to digress.
Sure, sure. Please,
When
by
you're
all
an
means,
old
digress
religion,
away.
when you're an old religion, the concept of holding religion or holding culture generally comes in paintings. So if you're an old enough religion, most of the time your culture would have been held in a painting. That's like cave painting, whatever.
Okay.
As you adapt, that's when your culture goes from painting to written. The aura of adaptation is painting to written. Then the third level is to spoken.
Mm.
Unfortunately, African culture is a bit unique because even when we did spoken, our spoken was more like written because we sang our culture.
We sang our oral tradition.
We did everything orally. And then the next problem becomes colonization. Because when we sang during the colonization era, we had this Pan-African system that made us feel if we put our songs into words that were written down, it could be taken from us. So the song you sang, you held it so close to your heart that you would rather die. I mean, I think we all, if you're Igbo and you remember the stories that they told us about the Igbo slaves who on the ship, who took over the ship, and because they knew they could not sail the ship, they rather jump off the ship and die in the sea, which is
These
where the
were the
statue
people
comes
that
from.
died off the coast of
Yeah,
America. Yeah, right?
they rather die off the coast because they didn't know how to sail. They rather just die off the coast and go into slavery. That was it. So we kind of held our tradition so badly that the trauma of our tradition became the form of transferring the tradition. So if you never heard the story, you don't know it.
That's true.
And the problem with that is even like nowadays, I mean, and I think this is why I kind of praise Ghanaians a bit more because, Ghanaians kind of adapted faster than us because
They
they put
did.
it in words. I mean, look at the story of Anansi, which is technically the snake god, right?
Okay.
No, spider god. As far as I want to believe, Marvel can come and sue me later. I believe that the person who did Spider-Man actually heard the story of Anansi.
You think?
Yes. The one for
Do
Black Panther. Some people argue that Black Panther was Bast, sorry. But
Bath. Yeah, because
yeah,
it's kind of
it is
very.
Bast that gives them the power, bro. From the way you see Black Panther is portrayed, you can see that they just tied it into Bast later on. But from the way Spider-Man is portrayed, especially in the way they tie in Spider-Man, especially in the older ones. If you watch Static Shock, you see that Static Shock actually goes to Africa, and then they bring in the initial girl. I keep forgetting what his name. The initial guy. So you can see like Spider-Man actually thought of it. Black Panther, I think, was just an afterthought.
After I thought,
Bast.
let's add an African twist to it.
Plus, I'm sorry to say this, North Africans, you guys, a lot of times, you guys claim to be white. So, your myth and mythology, I
Well,
think when people remember
what
it's
is it
because you're
with
white.
whiteness and okay? Because this is one thing I have experienced in my own personal life, at least, right? I've understood that the difference between being seen as a human being and being seen as a creature was just 3 millimeters of skin. Can you please explain to those that don't know, and I'll back it up, with some medical facts, what you know about melanin?
This is, I want to give a good example, but I don't have my friend next to me. There's a guy who usually, with the first time I ever got this question, because he was one that answered it for me. This is a guy who, okay, first of all, my background, I studied engineering and physics as an undergrad in the UK.
Okay.
I actually lived in the UK for over 10 years. I did not give a damn. I wasn't bothered by anything, but there are certain things that happened to me in the UK that stand out. For one, the first time I got into college, I went to Loughborough University. First time I got into college, I remember my orientation day. Police officer, this was the senior constable of Loughborough.
Okay.
Mind you, as a Nigerian,